Hey flower peeps, Savannah here with Eden Savvy Creations, and today I was going to do a quick video to show my Natalia template. So this is one of my very first templates that I made when I started, and I don't use her very often, which is bad, but I'm going to use her today. So I just wanted to show you guys what I did. There's many styles you can do with this, but this is just the flower that I wanted to make for today. So get your stuff together and get ready. All right guys, so I just wanted to tell y'all the system that I'm using. I will write it down below in the comments too of how many petals I used for each layer. But to begin with, I'm going to use my 6-petal base. So I have that already ready to go. And that, your base is what you're going to glue your flowers on. Now you don't need this type of base. You can use a square one, you can use a circle. I started out with circles. But I really love these and recommend them just because you already know the placement of each petal. So my first 2 layers are gonna have 6 petals. Then my 3rd layer I have 5 petals. My 4th layer I went down to 4 petals, and then the last layer I have just 3 petals. So as you can see with these, I cut in pretty far, because whenever I glue it together, I want it to be able to lay down pretty flat. Like these are already glued. So I want it to lay down pretty flat and open. So I left these unglued just to show you guys what I had done. So you can take 2 at a time, and a fat glue stick. I don't have any long ones. They would make it a lot easier, but I just curled it in on one side, and you're just gonna do the same on the other side. Just be careful with a middle like this to not go too far or too rough, because then you end up cutting into it. You might want to just grab it more like that at an angle. The same thing, going in at an angle. I have also been told by a follower on my Instagram. She had told me to try doing a straight iron, like using your hair iron to curl the petals. I have yet to do that, but it sounds pretty neat to try. So I just put the glue a little bit. I don't use a lot, and I just barely bring it over, because like I said, I want it to lay pretty flat. So the less that you bring it over, the flatter it's gonna lay down. The more you bring it over, the higher it sits up, the petal. And a little glue goes a long way. So there's that last layer. Now you can start to lay them. Now in the back, when I lay it like this, I'm only gonna apply glue to one side and leave that side clear. And I don't bring it really far into the, sorry, my little boy there. I don't put it too far down on the base. Like, I don't come too far in, sorry. And then you just keep going on the side that's already glued down. So like I said, with these bases, I really love them a lot because there's not really a guessing game of where you're supposed to place them. You pretty much know, you just place them on each one of those slits right there. Now, the reason why I leave this unglued is because this last petal, we're gonna stick it right underneath that petal. This is a system that I like to use because I like how the flower turns out. I like the way that it lays. you could have always just glued it all and then come back in and set that on top of it. That would have been completely fine too. So again, you're just gonna do the same thing. And instead of going on top though, you're gonna kind of make sure that you're between each one of these petals. Just on the one side. Now that's, since you know you don't see the base anymore with the lines, my way of keeping up with the placement is to make sure, you know, to get it between the first layer. And also, as you can see, whenever I'm setting it between this first layer here, I'm bringing it pretty close in to this flower, right on the crease of where it's cut. So that's a good placement too. That's a good way to check out your placement. So now for the third layer, these first two layers were 6 petals. This third layer is 5 petals. And as you can see, they're sitting up just a little bit more than these first 2 layers. But again, I'm going in between the petals. So just make sure you put the glue on that last petal right there. And that's how it's coming out right now. Now you could stop right here with just these 3 layers and give yourself like a big center, a big fluffy center. That always looks super cute. Or you could do a rose center right here too. That's very nice. Just give yourself a rosebud. I need to make a video on that with this particular flower, because a lot of times that's what I do, is I use just a rosebud. But this way it looks even cute too. So this last layer right here, there's 4 petals, and I left this one undone. So just to show you that how far I've cut into the petal here, and I'm going to glue it and bring it over pretty far, so that way it sits up in the flower instead of laying back. So instead of bringing it just right here, you're gonna bring it like that. You see how it sits up further away from that layer, the third layer? And just look at the other flower also. You can see the line of where you've creased it or like cut it. That's a good placement right there. You can move it further over if you want, but I think making sure that you're like ½ an inch away from right there is pretty good. You don't wanna like overlayer the flowers too much. So that. Just pick that up a little bit. It got too close in each other, but so there's that one behind it. You can see that it's set. Okay, so the last layer also, I just have 3 petals, and I've really sat it up high. I've cut it pretty deep into the petal, and so now again I'm gonna take it over a lot. Almost all the way to the other side. And these ones I have just curled back. Now this one you're just going to go ahead and glue all of it because there's only 3 of them. And you're just gonna kind of angle them like little triangles. But there we go. There's the end, the finish, and you can always add just a little. I really like that little center rose. You can do something like that, or a big fluffy center, or even just a rosebud, like I said, whichever you really like or prefer. I love my little roses like this, y'all. So I hope you like it. That's Natalia for you.